What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. Today we are talking about program splits, all about designing better programs. And we're going to be talking today about rest and recovery and the way that you need to build your program split in order to get insane results.
Welcome to the podcast, tribe. Big shout out to everybody joining us on the Sound of Movement. Special welcome to everyone on YouTube. Hit that like button for us, helps the channel grow, and answer the question of the day. What's your current training split and how's it working for you? We'd love you to share some of your results. Now, if this is the first time joining us, my name is Yanni Burmeister. Across the table from me is my brother Rad Burmeister. Behind the mic is Richard, the voice of God, and we are Unity Gym and the Unify Movement System. We turn driven people into athletes. Now, today's discussion is very, very important. It's continuing on how to design better programs. God, I got tongue-tied there. And we want you guys to understand a couple of the key strength and conditioning principles that go into how to design better programs. We spoke yesterday about progressive overload, which is arguably the most important variable or principle in programming. Today we're going to talk about the principle of supercompensation. Now I want to share an example of supercompensation first that is outside of the gym, outside of strength and flexibility training, how it applied to my running training recently, and we'll kick that off first. But before we do, I want to pre-warn anyone who's listening to the podcast, anyone who's watching on YouTube, and most importantly, anyone who's joining us live in the UMS Movement Mastermind, that in 3 days' time, we are launching our 12 Days of Christmas sale. The 12 Days of Christmas sale is going to provide a unique opportunity to join our online coaching program with a bundle of added extras that we usually do not make available. And we will give you a little bit more info on what that means over the next couple of days. So get ready, 3 days and counting. How are you, Rad?
Yeah, I'm good.
How are you, Richard?
Pretty good.
I always like to let Richard get a voice in just before we get started because Rad and I can both talk underwater about these topics. In a moment, we're going to reveal the textbook description of supercompensation, what it means. But first of all, I want to just share a story about how it's been working for me in my running. 6 weeks ago, I decided that I was going to increase my ability to run again. 7 years ago, if you don't know, I had a knee reconstruction after a football injury, and I haven't been able to run more than a couple of 100 meters pain-free since then. It's my fault. I didn't rehab properly. I rehabbed in the gym for strength and flexibility, but didn't really take the rehab beyond that into running again. So I've slowly, progressively overloaded my body by introducing a brisk walk first, then a walk-run interval, and slowly building that up to today. I had a breakthrough where I ran about 5 of the 5.65 kilometers and just did short walking intervals in between to bring my heart rate back down to a level that was not going to fatigue my body too much. Now, above and beyond the concept of progressive overload, what has been very important for me is how much recovery I've given my body in between the stimulus. If I was to run every single day or even walk every single day at a really intense pace, it wouldn't have worked out for me. So I've varied the intensity, and on the majority of days, I've taken it quite easy and not let my heart rate go above about 110 beats per minute. But then on one instance every 3 days, roughly 72 hours, I have allowed my heart rate to go right up to 160 beats, and I've increased those little run intervals on those days. And that is because I wanted to have a maximum response to the adaptation. I wanted to adapt as best I could and let my body's tissues strengthen to their maximum capacity, and that is referred to as supercompensation. So what we want to do is really dive deep into how we do this in our programming, and Rad's going to explain that in just a moment. But before he does, I'm going to give you the the theory behind supercompensation, which is related to the general adaptation syndrome, a theory about how the body responds to stress. It was introduced in 1946 by an endocrinologist called Hans Sale. Sale proposed that when subjected to stress, the body goes through several phases to adapt to that stress. The result is that the harder you stress your body, provided you rest long enough afterwards, the higher the peak of adaptation. And the highest peak of adaptation is called supercompensation. And it's best illustrated with a nice drawing or diagram, which we can't do here on the show, but we just want you to visualize that, if you've got a flat line running across a page, that's your current state of physical preparedness. It might be strength, flexibility, or fitness. When you stimulate the body with exercise, you actually drop below that line of capability immediately after the stimulus, and that's where you feel fatigued and your body might be a bit sore, and things might even feel a bit uncomfortable or hurt. You might get DOMS if it's strength training or running. Actually stretching as well, you can get stretching DOMS. And that period of below your starting point capability is then, after about 24 hours, it starts to curve up, and eventually your abilities bounce well above the starting point. And that curve slowly tapers off over the next 3 to 4 days until it returns to your start point. But if you reintroduce stimulus at the top of that curve, then you will continually progress, right? Mm-hmm. Why don't you explain that and how it looks in a strength and flexibility training?
Well, yeah, instance. I mean, even just to simplify what you just said there, if you talk about if we just talk about strength training, you grab some dumbbells and you do 10 reps of something, 3 to 5 sets, and and you're in pain, and there's no way that you could do that same workout again, and then you rest and recover, and you come back. If you take the right amount of recovery, which is usually 48 to 72 hours on the same muscle group, you come back and you're a tiny little bit stronger. And then that process over time all adds up to over what we call a mesocycle, which is 6 weeks at Unity Gym, that you see some nice strength gains. So that's in a nutshell how it is. But then to go deeper into supercompensation, what Yanni described is what I would call on a micro level, like on a microcycle, how supercompensation occurs, like from workout to workout. But where I really focus on supercompensation when I write programs is how it occurs over a meso and a macro cycle. So a microcycle refers to 1 week. In our case, there's different ways to do it. And a mesocycle refers to a series of microcycles, so 6 weeks in the UMS. And then a macrocycle refers to a series of mesocycles, which is 4 mesocycles in the UMS, meaning microcycle a week, mesocycle 6 weeks, macrocycle 24 weeks. So we do 2 macrocycles in a year, and then for the last 4 weeks of the year, we do a really offbeat program that really mixes things up for people. So the way it works, if you do it properly, you'll actually go into a state of what's called, when you introduce the right stimulus of training, you have the right recovery and everything, you get into a state of what's called overreaching, where you can't produce the same strength that you could produce at the start of your mesocycle, even within your best efforts. And that's actually something that people really misunderstand. Like the goal of the UMS programming, at least once you get past the foundations phase, this is not the goal in the foundations phase, but once you get past that phase into the progressions phase, the goal is definitely to get into a state of overreaching at some stage during your mesocycle. And if we get it all right, it'll be on week 5 in peak week. And in that state of overreaching, that's when you can't produce the same strength that you produced last week, no matter how hard you try. And where people get this wrong is that when they feel the state of overreaching, they don't understand it. And so what they think is that they're not trying hard enough and they need to try harder. And you cannot push through a state of overreaching. You just can't do it. Your body needs, the only thing that will ever get you out of it is recovery. But this is a good thing, because then when you recover and you take a deload week, which is usually a 5-day period, it's during that deload period that you supercompensate and you go through that process that you described before, which means that your baseline level of strength now increases. And that's the goal of training. And this is where so many people get this wrong because they don't understand this. There is a lot to think about. There's a lot that goes into good programming. And so people take the easy way out, which is, I'm just going to train hard every day. And that's an easy way out. Don't think that you're doing better than anybody else if your attitude is just, I'm just going to train hard every day. You're not. You're taking an easy way out because you're not being smart. You're not putting the work in to figure out how to do it, or you're not investing in working with a coach that's going to show you how to do it. So that's not the better way. You're not doing better than other people if your attitude is just go hard or go home.
Well, you can't turn up every day. I mean, we in a perfect world, we'd love to think that you can just turn up and train at balls to the wall at 110% every single day, and it makes it really easy because you don't really have to think about it. And it is. You're right in saying that it is a lot of work. Like it's a pain in the butt being a trainer and a coach and having to design your own workouts and programs. And I find it so much easier just joining in with the class here. Yeah. Despite the fact that I could probably do more, that gives me a better workout because I can just switch off and just do what has been designed.
Well, we've got personal trainers that have been trainers for a decade that train with us here.
Yeah.
And when I ask them how they're going, they smile and go, man, I just love not having to think about what I'm going to do in the gym. I love just turning up and having this great program written for me, and I just do it,
Yeah, there's nothing more liberating than having a coach design all of your stuff for you, telling you what to do.
Oh, it's awesome.
Turn up and just switch off. I want to give a quick shout out, because I forgot to do it at the start, to the guys that are joining us live. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Christy. Christy is joining us from Connecticut, and we would like to give everyone a big warm welcome on the UMS Movement Mastermind. The group is cranking. It's growing at quite an alarming rate, really.
It's really good.
To think that we probably refuse entry to half the people that apply because they don't agree to our code of conduct. It's a very, very great group. Now, I want to dive into a comment from one of our new members to this group, because it's very, very poignant to what we're talking about today. Rob, if you're watching or listening, shout out to you. He's given us a huge comment here. If you want to scroll down. Now, I'm not going to read the whole comment because it is a very, very big comment, but essentially he's shared what he's working on at the moment with his physio. He's shared that he's 40 years old and he's got persistent lower back issues for over 6 years, and he's quite frustrated. He was seeing a personal trainer before lockdown and has lost connection with them. He's also dabbled in our programs, and but he's never been able to put it together properly. And he's essentially asking, what can I do to put everything together and sort of try something. He has said that he's initially tried our UMS program last year and sort of struggled in getting the volume in due to his lower back recovery and work-life balance. And, the thing that I want to sort of say to Rob and anyone else who's listening here is that at some point in your life, you have to make a choice whether you stay where you are or whether you move forward beyond your current setbacks. And this is something that I refer to as a breakthrough moment. I had a breakthrough moment this morning where, when you have a breakthrough moment, it's quite unique and challenging. Previous hurdles become stepping stones on your journey. Hindsight proves you were always going to rise to the challenge, but prior failures become necessary lessons. The plan seems to just fall together. And I think that our friend Rob in the group is at a breakthrough moment in his life where, he's framing and highlighting that he's got a 6-year problem that's been really hindering him. And I know Rad and I both know what it's like to have spinal injuries. We've both had quite severe spinal injuries. It's horrible. But there's no real way to sugarcoat this. You have to decide. You have to make a choice to go all in. Do you want to overcome that, or do you not want to overcome that? And then you need to follow the plan. Follow the program, stick to the program. I don't really, if you follow the program using progressive overload and super compensation properly, it is very hard to fail. You know, it is very, very hard to fail. You may get the calculations wrong and overdo it, but if you manage load and you do it really nice and progressively, and I speak through experience because I've overcome a severe lower back problem doing this, you will achieve your desired goals and results, you know. But you have to go all in on it. You have to decide. You can't do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You can't do what the physio is telling you to do and then try to do little sections of the UMS program. You got to go all in on it, you know. And I really, really believe that if you are suffering some sort of an injury, like our friend Rob, you've just got to decide, like, put 2020 behind you. It's been a challenging year for all of us, and let's go all in on 2021, and let's follow a proper periodized program that has a great training split. Don't make any excuses about work-life balance, because you're deciding. You're either going to do it or you're not. I remember once a mentor of mine said to me, you're either going to do this or you're not. Yeah. And it's your choice. Yeah. You know, you make that choice. You make the choice to make
excuses and everything. And
you know,
when I look at, if you knew the hours that Yanni and Richard and me work, and you know, Yanni and I have both got families, and there are so many things that I've given up that I would love to be doing, because I just made the choice, and it was hard. There were periods of time where it was hard to accept that there were certain things that have always been a part of my life for a long time, that I thought, where do I want to be in a year from now? And I'm very, very glad that I made the choices that I did, because it's, you know, shaping me into the person that I want to be and having the things that I want, rather than, you know, just sort of working on default and making excuses for not being able to do the things that are really, really important. And, you know, if anybody's listening to this or watching this, you obviously care about your body, and you're obviously looking for something a little bit more. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to what we're saying here. Make no mistake that an investment in a good program with a good coach is going to be one of the investments that pays off for you more than anything. There's nothing in life that won't benefit from being strong, fit, flexible, athletic, switched on. You know, your mood, if your mood elevates, your sense of self-worth elevates, and when that elevates, everything changes. But then if you go on the other side of the spectrum, if you imagine if you go the other way, and if your fitness and health and strength and flexibility diminishes, everything suffers.
Yeah.
Everything suffers. And in the very least, your self-esteem and your self-worth will suffer, and your ability to be energized and be switched on. And what isn't going to suffer if that suffers? You know, what isn't going to suffer?
Yeah. Now, specifically for Rob, last year we weren't doing the weekly group coaching. Like, we were just still designing what UMS is. So I dare say that what we do now is far superior to what he tried a year ago. I don't understand. You know, he's essentially saying, I feel that I might need something a bit more bespoke. What does that mean, bespoke?
To Google it. I can't remember what it means. I think it means like customized.
Yeah, bespoke, made for a particular customer or user. Okay, yeah, there you go. But the reality is, and we all think that we need something specific to us and our needs. The problem is that we actually need to rise to the challenge. Now, for me to start running again, I couldn't fit it in during the day. I've got 2 young kids. I've got a wife who needs to get to the gym in the morning and train as well before work. So the only way I could do it is if I get up at 5 o'clock or 4, you know, a little bit before 5, get myself ready and go for a run then, you know, and then I'd get back and I'd take over getting the kids up and get them ready, and she comes to the gym, you know. And it hasn't been easy. It absolutely hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it, you know.
Well, and you know what I think? I think it's really important to address this idea of I need something more bespoke. The truth is that maybe you do, but you know what that costs? Do you want to know what the financial investment is to get something bespoke?
That's going to be good.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
You're talking
an hour.
150 an hour, and at best you're talking $100 to $150 a week for online coaching that won't give you even close to the same level of feedback that you get for the UMS online coaching subscription. And I know that because I do online coaching myself, and I've done it many, many times with coaches to get to where I am. And the level of feedback and the level of coaching that you get is nothing compared to what we provide. And we've worked very, very hard to figure out a way to be able to provide a high level of service. Now, that comes from many reasons. It comes from, one of the reasons is that we have a group that is only for the UMS Online Coaching group. It's not like this group where you have 3,500 people in there, so it's only the people that are subscribed to that program. So when people ask questions, a lot of the time our more advanced students that have gone through that, they'll answer you in great detail.
Yep.
And anybody that doesn't get that answer will get a direct answer from you and I doing the weekly coaching call. Now, yes, a custom program by somebody that assesses you and writes a program for you will be exceptional if they're a good coach. But to have that process continue, how much are you willing to invest? Because man, that's going to cost you some money.
But this is why I don't understand that he's done UMS, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Every 6 weeks you assess your body and we help you customize your program.
Yep.
With exception to the introduction, which is about symmetry balance, agonist-antagonist balance, and strength and flexibility balance, which is our foundations program. But it's a done-for-you program because it's an introduction to proper program periodization and principles that is in by nature a little bit to get your head around, and we want it to be as smooth a transition into the world of proper programming as possible. It's also a program that, because of the online coaching, the Facebook group and everything, we can help you customize it if there's something that's not working for you.
Yep.
And that's why I want to challenge Rob to get back into that group, because you've never, I don't think you've experienced the UMS online coaching the way that it was meant to be designed. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at what level you tried it, you know. But for everyone else out there who's listening, who's just tuning in, you've got to understand that when you have an issue like this, it's either going to go one of two ways. It's either going to get worse or it's going to get better. It never stays the same, because by nature our bodies are aging, and with age comes more compromise, becomes a tissue, a more vulnerable tissue in the body. You know, bones, muscles, tendons, ligaments, they're either getting stronger or they're getting weaker. You know, there's no middle ground. You don't stay the same because you're aging, you know. And so you can flip it on its head, or you can just accept your fate and you're just slowly sort of dying, dare I say it, you know. And so Rob and everyone else out there who are sitting there with an issue, with an injury, and they're making excuses as to why they can or can't fit a program in to fix or solve that problem, you got to make a choice. You're either going to do this or you're not.
Yep.
And if you're not going to do it, man, I feel for you, you know. I feel for you. I sympathize, but I also challenge you to not settle. Don't accept that fate, you know. Make a choice. 2021, make it your best year. Get busy planning to make 2021 your best year. Don't settle.
If you understood the amount of injuries that I've had over my life, that the average person, it would have just crumbled them. I've sat there in front of surgeons and physios and multiple times with them just looking at me going, oh man, look, you know, this is a real life changer, this one. And 100%. I've never ever settled for it. And it's a process of just understanding that it's a process.
Yeah.
It is a process. It's not a destination. You're not going to just find the magic pill and do it. And that's what something like the UMS is. It's about becoming part of a process that will uncover issues in your body. That's the idea, but then you'll learn how to deal with those issues. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, some of these issues take time to overcome. Yeah. Some of them you'll never fully overcome. The process is about just making them not get worse and hopefully a little bit better. But like I've got issues in my body that I'll never overcome, but through the UMS I'm able to make sure that they are gradually getting better over time rather than getting worse over time. And that is enough. Because like, for example, my lower back, like the pain that I feel in my lower back from my pars defect and spondylolisthesis, if I don't train in the UMS, if I don't do what we do, it takes about a week before that pain requires painkillers and anti-inflammatories. And when I do train, it's fine. There's no problem.
Yeah.
But the pars defect and the spondylolisthesis is always there.
Yeah.
If you put me on an X-ray, or if you even just look at me standing and you look at the shape of my spine, you'll always see it.
Yeah.
And whenever I see a video of myself, I'm always like, fuck, is that what my back looks like? Like, it's full on.
But you've made a choice to focus on the performance side of your attributes rather than the hindered side of your attributes, you know, and that's the really key thing. Phil, our physio, talks about that all the time, you know, this injury identity. And this is what I want to end on for specifically for the comment here from Rob. You know, he talks about he struggled with getting the volume in each week due to lower back recovery time, flare-ups, and work-life balance. Now, the concept of flare-ups, I'm going to challenge anyone who's got an injury that your number one goal is to build load capacity in the tissues that are causing you grief, okay? And that is going to take a little bit of discomfort. You cannot build load capacity in an area of your body that is compromised without challenging and stimulating that area and progressively overloading that stimulus.
Load capacity refers to your ability to withstand
load.
And load is a combination of intensity, which is how heavy you lift, and volume, which is how much you lift.
Yeah,
how many reps,
how long
sets,
it's
how long.
exposed to the tension. Okay. Now the flare-ups are spasms. They're the body saying, okay, I have exceeded my load capacity. You need to give me some time to adapt so that I can come back a bit stronger. The worst thing you can do at that point is go, oh, I'm experiencing discomfort. I'm never going to do that again, or I'm just going to stop doing that. That's not the idea. That's not what the body's telling you to do. The body is telling you that you need to keep stimulating this. You need to keep building load capacity, you know. And so my final advice for Rob and anyone else out there who's relating to this story is, your injury, if it's been 6 years since it started, the injury is done and dusted, my friend. It is only your body sending you pain signals because of your history and because of a lack of load capacity. It's not feeling confident in that area yet, and you need to strengthen that area. And you are not going to do that by lying on the floor doing the types of exercises that you've listed here from your physio. Physios are fantastic at helping you identify and diagnose an issue, and in most cases get you started on the process of strength training. Unless you're working with a very good sports physio, someone like Phil or Nilesh who work with us here, they are not going to be able to take you above and beyond that point. In my experience, they just don't. They don't really prescribe beyond that initial point of rehabilitation. Now, I've worked with a lot of great physios in my life, and I've also worked with some pretty lousy ones, especially the ones that
I'd say I've worked with a couple of great physios and a lot of really shit ones.
Well, look, you know, it just depends on where people specialise. But you absolutely listen to your physio, but you also need to question, if you've been dealing with this for 6 years, it is time to do something different. It is time to go all in. I can't stress that enough. There is a life that doesn't involve you having lower back pain. And you just got to make the decision that you're going to go for it, you know?
Yeah, and my final thought is going all in doesn't mean training hard.
Yeah,
we're not
absolutely
saying going all in means suck it up and push through that. That is not what we're saying. Going all in means that you make a decision that you're going to make a habit of daily movement and daily exercise. And what that means is there is a process of understanding your load capacity, which is you work out. The next couple of days, your pain feels worse, and you go, I went too hard. That is not a sign of, that was wrong, I've got to stop.
That was the wrong thing to do.
That means, okay, next time, go back and halve the load. Halve the load that you did. Halve the intensity, halve the volume, and see how that makes you feel. And it is very likely that if you do that, the next time, it won't hurt. And then you go, okay, let's increase the load a little bit. And it is a process of doing that over and over again before you understand your load tolerance. And before you know it, I'm going to tell you a very quick story to finish off. One of our members, Nick, I think it's Nick Clark, He joined at the start of this year, just before COVID, and when he joined, I will never forget it. He came in, I'd say he's in his early to mid 30s. He's definitely younger than I am. And when I showed him the Jefferson curl, he just looked at me and went, "Oh man, I can't do that." And I said, "Why not?" And he said, "I've got herniated discs and I just know it's going to make my back so bad." And I said, "All right, let's grab a 4 kilo kettlebell and we'll give it a go." And he went, "Man, I really don't want to. Hey, like any weight, if I pick it up and go like that, it's just going to hurt me." And I said, "Okay, fair enough. Let's do it with no weight at all. Okay, all I want you to do is go through this motion." And I showed him the motion of the Jefferson curl and he went through it. Now, that was the start point. Then there was this whole process that I'm not going to go through.
Yep.
And the last time I saw him deadlifting was during our wave loading 6 weeks ago. Not the last time I saw him, but the last time I took note, and I made a video of it and put it on Instagram. You can see it, where he weighs about 85 kilos and he deadlifted 140 kilos for 2 reps. And I went up to him and said, "Jesus, Nick, your back's gotten better, isn't it?" And he just smiled and went, "Yeah, man, it's not really there anymore." You know, 140 kilos. So that's, for those of you in the States, we're talking about, I think it's like 300 pounds, maybe 320 pounds or something like that. It's some serious weight for somebody that only a year ago wouldn't even pick up a weight in a forward bend pattern because he was so scared that it was going to wreck his back. Yeah. And you know what most people would have done? "Oh, no, I can't do that."
Look, I did it. I did it for decades because I was told by surgeons and physios that I could never deadlift, that I should never deadlift, and it ended up becoming the very thing I needed most. Yeah. And this is what I want to finish on, guys. With injuries, supercompensation, progressive overload are essential. You need to follow a good program that with coaches that understand these principles. They are essential key principles to the development of strength, flexibility and fitness. And in 99.9% of all pain situations, remember, pain is a symptom from the brain. There is no question about it. It is often because of a load capacity issue and you are exceeding the load capacity. The body is warning you that you're doing that and it's sending you a pain symptom. And the answer to your problem is not to avoid that thing. It is to progressively overload using most likely that thing. You know, it is to build your load capacity through strength and then flexibility and end range strength. And I just urge everyone out there who's suffering a little bit right now to take that into consideration. Do not hide from the things that challenge you. Break through them.
Absolutely. Have a good day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, it's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.